somewhat recently, ever since the reveal, you know, that reveal, the people have spoken. Countless messages, comments, and even the odd tweet or two, the people have made their voices heard based on all of this goddamn clickbait and how well it's being received. That the people want Pokemon Sun, and to a lesser extent Pokemon Moon, leaving me with no option but to go for the more vanilla and all around generic video concepts. I mean, the game isn't even out, so I don't really have much to go on here. And I mean really generic stuff. Like, I'm talking more generic than a vlogger with a ukulele.
Am I quirky yet?
Over the old Twitter a while ago, I explained how I try to avoid uploading news videos because they come with an expiration date. Not that there's anything wrong with news videos, unless you're a fucking gnome or something. But for my channel, I aim for more longevity, so what I'm saying remains at least somewhat relevant, as whatever doesn't happen in Generation 7, I'm gonna hope happens in generations to follow. So my incoherent ramblings shall hopefully live on forever, or however long it takes for a big beefy solar flare to destroy our technology, or however long it takes Trump to achieve inevitable world domination, to eventually outlaw the series after discovering that it came from the same country responsible for Pearl Harbor. You know, whichever natural disaster comes first. But until then, I'm gonna talk about the real topical issues currently facing the world. You know what I'm talking about. Everyone knows what, like, everyone's talking about the politics, and I guess the Olympics and shit, but we all know, low-key, we all know the real shit we need to talk about. Which Pokemon should have something going for them in the next games? Now, traditionally, you'd have to have some kind of a referendum to make decisions on a topic this delicate, but I'm gonna save that from happening and tell you about 5 Pokemon that deserve a new Mega Evolution or form? You know, the thing Mega Evolution should have been to begin with. Ones that deserve something. One of the last Pokemon I, for one, would ever want to be given a permanent evolution is Lapras. How dare such treachery even be considered? Lapras is a thing of beauty, and you want to taint that beauty by essentially, you're pretty much praising Satan by condoning the blasphemy of evolution. So how'd you feel? You fucking Satan worshipper? All because of fucking Lapras? You fucking proud of yourself? Luckily, Alola forms exist, which has been widely received to be slightly less blasphemous, and this giant base of sea seems to be the place Lapras could get its due. Lapras are meant to be near extinct or something, right? You'd think it makes sense for an Alola form to adapt Lapras to not get the treatment of the barely mobile wood chipper. You know, there's a reason why Brock and the gang use it to surf to each filler destination in the hit and when you're above the age of 12 Miss TV series, and it's obvious that they chose the surf icon in the Johto games to beat Lapras. They could have used any Pokemon with the ability to swim, but obviously you use the finest looking one, the poster boy, if you will. You see, let me tell you something, let me lay down some knowledge on you. You don't use Taylor Lautner on your muscle and fitness cover when Big Pop Pump is your hookup. In the other games, Lapras isn't used as the surf icon. Alright, I'll give you that one. But as any credible video game aficionado would tell you, the best generation is indeed the second by a landslide victory, and therefore, all other surf icons are indeed overruled. Aside from HP, it doesn't have any other kind of specialty, making it pretty plain across the board, so a new form could provide it with the defensive stats necessary to fully utilize all of that sweet, succulent HP bulk. There's one dual creature that is often overlooked by its far superior, far more versatile, and quite frankly, far easier to love counter-evolution, Politoed. There's always that hypothetical situation that gets thrown around a lot, goes along the lines of, if you're a parent and a gun's pointed at your kids, you can only pick one to live. How do you decide which one? In this case, the parent's too afraid to admit that Poliwrath is I've attained enough street credibility to say Poliwrath's getting the get. Which is weird when you think about it, because when you think about it, what is Poliwrath? You think a giant mixed martial artist tadpole would turn out to be way stronger and far less outmatched than the end result we were left with? Poliwrath is so brawny, its eyes are in its traps. It is one giant trapezoid. It can make you tap out just by staring into the pattern on its stomach. This thing is stockier than a brick wall made out of Brock Lesnar's. See, when I play the hype man role like that, you'd think it'd be a top player in the game. Sadly, the design on its stomach only foreshadowed how it could never live up to its potential. A new form would truly allow this powerlifting tadpole to punch its VIP ticket straight to hell, from living up to all the deadly sinning it was named after. The possibility of this change happening is quite a scary thought, not gonna lie. Thinking about this has provided myself with many sleepless nights, along with a thought of Ainsley Harriott and Big E slowly gyrating their hips seductively in an endless Wild West duel. Slowly gyrating their hips. The potential is as endless as this one creature is menacing, and I'm not talking about Big Wool, I meant Spiritomb. It would make for one hell of a deadly adversary to come up against in the squared circle of Japanese Fight Club, also known as competitive play for all of you internet darlings. A very spooky opponent right here. Spooky enough to even make me twirl my fingers sarcastically. Spiritomb going into an even greater form of Spiritomb would be the difference between a PG and an 18+ episode of Scooby-Doo. Spiritomb has the potential to be truly terrifying. There's a lot of possibilities for stat changes. Give it higher attack stats, get some serious offense going, or maybe even boost its defense and low HP stats to turn it into the most feared tank since the German Panzer. And the one and only thing that can efficiently take down this spooky combat vehicle is the fairy type. One thing that can make or break the efficiency of which a Pokemon can sweep up the floors is their typing, or in many cases, dual typings, which may counter each other's weaknesses. For instance, with a type as unique as H2O and Electric, there's a lot of potential to clean some serious house and sweep up them floors nicely. Now, you don't want a dusty floor now. You've got the mandem coming down to your 3-yard bam. You've already hit up the group chat. Hit up the boys. You don't want to look like a fucking pikey in front of your boys now, do you? You want your floors to be in pristine condition. So look no further than a pristine new form for Lantern. If I were in the boardrooms, rocking only the finest tailored suits, looking more dapper than the rest of my subordinates, and I were making all of these executive decisions and such, I'd be boosting up Lantern's special attack, best suiting its moveset, as well as its defense stats to make it even more difficult to take out than it already is. A new Lantern form would have the potential to, no instructions necessary, piece by piece, take apart and send Rotom Wash straight back to IKEA within 3 to 5 working days. Especially if... Could you imagine? No, this is too much. Imagine a world where its ability turned out to be Levitate. You take away the biggest threat Rotom Wash would have had and leave it with only a soft spot for solar beams. Ah, that's too much. That's too far. I've always thought about the little guys, you know? The little guys in the Pokemon world. The ones with a hint of untapped potential. And to me, Chimecho, he's packing a lot of untapped potential. Because I'm not sure about the rest of you, but I see a lot in this Chimecho kid. For all we know, it could evolve and get a body. A very chiseled body, very sculpted body. A body sculpted at the hands of Zeus himself. And maybe it gets some kind of purple, bluish robe or hood. You know, not a lot is known about Chimecho. It's an enigma. It's best to keep it that way, keep him unnoticed, and force that mystery element to him. Now also, you have to consider, Chimecho are found in creepy areas, right? Cemeteries, mountains, near ice cream vans operating at night, unsettling places to be. Now, because of this, they need to be intimidating. In fact, it's essential. It's essential that they are intimidating to survive in those types of cutthroat, unsettling areas, which is why it should therefore take the appearance of something with that intimidation factor, something like a skeleton to scare foes away. Now, nothing scares foes away more than the undead in motion, you know? As well as that, it's just as vital that it has some kind of war cry, you know? To scare away potential threats, just in case the skeleton exterior isn't enough. For instance, some kind of unsettling high-pitched noise. Maybe a... See, that right there is untapped potential. Really missing out, really underutilizing these Pokemon here.
This Sunday! Sonic Underground performs live in front of 7 billion Hulkamaniacs in the center of the Superdome, with supporting acts Crush 40, 9 Inch Nails, and Linkin Park. Coming out this Sunday, Sonic Underground DVD Blu-ray Adventure DX Extravaganza Battle 2 and Knuckles, containing director's commentary over each episode.
We are Sonic Underground. We're looking for a scroll that
My wife left me for this.
And exclusive interviews with the